Welcome all. Welcome to this stage where we're going to discuss for the next hour how cities can become smarter and more beautiful and inclusive, and where we can move away from the more techie and digital kind of era of the smart city. My name is Hanne Vikshåland. I have been working in the smart city for about a decade in both private and the public positions, including head of smart city in one of Norway's largest cities. But I'm not the main person today. These guys are, and I will soon introduce them. But before we start, I would love to just give you all a brief introduction to the topic, because we are going to be talking about the new European Bauhaus, the NEB-STAR, NEB values, principles, and so on. And I would just love to have you all on board before we kind of dig into the discussion. Okay, so this is how kind of a lot of the world, Google people, perceive the smart city. But this is not a place where I would like to live or raise my family in this very techie, data-driven city necessarily. So in the Nordics, this has been kind of more the ideal image of the smart city, a place where people can thrive in balance with nature, in balance with each other and animals and everything. So this is more the image of the smart city that we are kind of looking for and trying to approach, a good life for our inhabitants. But to make this happen, we need to move from kind of the technological side to the more inclusive, with societal innovation, putting the people at the heart of the smart city development. But to come here, we need to overcome some hurdles. And there are a lot of challenges ahead of us, including the climate crisis. And the message is clear. We need to cut and reduce to be able to reach our climate goals. And the EU launched the European Green Deal as an act of a roadmap to figure out how we can become climate neutral by 2050. But something was missing. And that is what we're going to discuss today. And for the past 3 years, researchers, public servants, private companies, social entrepreneurs, students have been working in a project called NEB-STAR. It stands for the New European Bauhaus Stavanger, where we have explored new ways of collaborating, new partnership models, new business models, new methods and tools on how we can make the green transition more inclusive, sustainable, and beautiful. And I'm going to show you a brief movie that kind of exemplifies one of the projects that we have been doing in the project. It was supposed to be.
Hvorfor skal vi gjøre byutvikling uforståelig for folk? Det masse fagfolk som sitter og planlegger og styrer med ting. Hvorfor kan vi ikke møtes rundt bord og diskutere ting sammen, alle partene samtidig?
Nå inviterer vi beboere, utviklere og kommuner inn for å ha muligheten til å påvirke hva som skal skje rundt seg.
Alle sider av saken må være der, og så står vi og snakker sammen, ikke bare med ord, men også med penn i hånda, så kan vi markere det vi snakker om. Da viskes litt forskjellene ut. Det skjer aldri at alle sitter rundt samme bord og kan høre hverandre. Ganske mange har en historie de vil få fortalt. Og da får du en konkret dialog om akkurat det stedet der den type samtaler er viktig å ha. Du får et bilde som også står igjen med alle sine betraktninger. Alle har jo samme mål, og det å få til gode nabolag der folk har lyst å bo.
So that was one example of how we kind of changed the way we do citizen property development together with the citizens. So in that video, you saw an area that has been kind of, there's been a lot of conflict in that area between the citizens, the developers, the city, and so on. But in this project, we managed to get this around the table to discuss on neutral terms with the pen, with the paper, and find a new path forward together. So, if the Green Deal had a soul, it's the new European Bauhaus. So that was a quote from Ursula von der Leyen. And the NEB-STAR project, we have partners from Norway, we have Stavanger and Trondheim. We have a partner in the Netherlands, Utrecht, and of course, Prague here in the Czech. But you will find new European Bauhaus project all over Europe. So this is connected to the mission city statements from the EU. So for the past 3 years, NEB-STAR has been one of 6 lighthouse projects where we explore how these new values can be at the core of city development from different angles, but how we make them sustainable, inclusive, and beautiful. And I must say that kind of the collective intelligence gathered in this project has been enormous, and I think the impact can be really amazing going forward as well. So this is one of the key elements that have come out of the project. It's called the NEB Compass, and it shows how these values can be guides in projects towards a better future. And during the panel, you will hear us talk about this a lot. So these are the core values of the New European Bauhaus. It's about beautiful, creating meaningful, aesthetic, and culturally rich environments that enhance our sense of belonging and well-being. It has to be sustainable, promoting circular, regenerative, and climate-conscious practices that respect planetary boundaries. And of course, we have to do it together, ensuring inclusion, accessibility, and equal opportunities by all, and empowering communities and fostering solidarities. So these values are our aim to reconnect innovation with our everyday life. But they need to be used in a local context. That's one of the things we're also going to be discussing. Like one thing that works in Stavanger might not necessarily work in Prague. So we need to connect it to local initiatives to make the change happen. So, but it's not just a framework, it's also a practical tool to govern and to evaluate projects. And we have kind of been experiencing that with these values at the core, we can start changing mindset and changing how we prioritize things in the project. So far we call it nebifying things, when we kind of integrate these values. So we've nebified the climate contract, the city plans, construction sector clusters, and so on. And I think we've just started. And going forward, I think we're going to hear a lot more about these values and how they can affect all aspects of smart city development. Okay, are you ready? Good. So that was the introduction, and I'm very eager to introduce the rest of the panel for you guys. So these are the people that have been going through these, I don't know if you call it a transformation, but they have been nebified. And they have taken these values into the core, into what they do. And yeah, really excited to hear your take on this. So let's jump into the panel part of this. Okay. Can we give them a hand? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to actually start by letting you guys introduce yourself. You're going to say your name, your title, and a short sentence about what you bring to the table and experience in this discussion. We start with you.
Good afternoon. My name is... Sorry. Okay. Better?
Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zdenka Slámová. I am a councillor and representative of the town Moravský Krumlov, which is a small town with 6,000 inhabitants here in the south of Moravia. And what I bring the concrete example of New European Bauhaus principles, because we did in last year the architecture study and the architecture competition for the area of housing estate, where live more than third of inhabitants of the town. So it's a really important place, and we like to do it right. So we try to do it with the principles, and my main topic today is the participation with the citizens.
Great, thank you. Great to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Gunnar Crawford. I've been working with the NEB-STAR project possibly longer than everyone, because I was one of the architects behind applying for this and getting the project running. At that time, I was head of the Smart City of Stavanger. I moved along since that time. Now I'm in an organization called Nordic Edge, which also is a NEB-STAR partner. So I tried this from different sides of the table. And that's quite interesting in itself. What I bring today is, I would say, the softer sides of Smart. It was a transition for myself. I'm a techie guy. I come from the tech world. But I realized very soon after starting to work with the Smart City that it needs to be about people and together with people. And that's the perspective I bring into this.
Hello, my name is Klára Zamečníková and I work as a researcher at Czech Technical University, and I would like to share insight about the New European Bauhaus Innovation Team, which we founded 3 years ago with Tomáš.
Thank you, Klára. I started originally writing NEB-STAR as a member still of the Czech Technical University, or the first ideation was at the time, but then I switched to my current position at Operator ICT, which is a municipal company of the city of Prague, responsible for implementing smart city projects, running a data platform for the city of Prague, city mobility app, a citizen portal, etc. I brought the project kind of with me to this unlikely company, and what I bring is the experience of how you can actually implement NEB in an organization which is mostly consisted of data scientists, smart city experts, and project managers rather than architects and urbanists. So it was a very interesting experience, and we managed to find our place, and I think it went rather well in the end.
Brilliant. I'm really glad to have all these different perspectives from the project present in the panel. And the way we have organized this is that we have divided it into 3 topics. So we're going to talk about neighborhoods as a platform for innovation. We're going to talk about aesthetics as a driving force of development and communication. And we're going to finish off by discussing how we can create roadmaps for a shared future. I have a lot of questions, but you can have questions as well. As you see on the screen, you can scan the QR code, and in the app you can ask questions to the panel, and I will include them as we go along. Okay, let's begin where everything starts, where people live. So how can we use local communities as spaces for testing and innovation? And I'm going to start with you, Zdenka. So you have been working on the ground. So how have you worked with local communities to implement the NEB principles in your work?
Okay. At first, we tried to learning from our mistakes, because we have some another project, the revitalization of the main square, and the public session was realized in the time when everything was finished and project was finished, and the people were angry. What a surprise! So we tried to do it in some another way. And as I said, the area now is the very big area with lots of inhabitants, and it was also revitalization. So we tried to participate with the people from the beginning and through all process. We have 2 public sessions. One was in the beginning where we ask people what they'd like to have in the study. Then we have the questionnaire. We try to talk to people in some another ways by monopolies. Do you know the monopolies? Who knows the monopolies here?
Explain.
Right?
Explain.
It's some like a social site or something like that. You don't know it. It's a social site which informate the people in the town. Also the social medias and some another ways. And then we have the public session with the people when the architecture competition was finished, and the winning architecture studio present their study, and the people can say their options, their proposals, and we try to listening them and try to implement it through some of their ideas in the follow-up.
And you did as well implement.
Yes, we do, and now we are in this time we are waiting for the territory study where these things, not 100%, if I have to say it true, but we try to do. And if we are not possible to do it, we talk to people, we explain a lot. And I think that good thing is that we have the very good team with experts for traffic, for landscape and greenery. And if something isn't possible, they explain it much better than me.
Okay, but it's interesting, and kind of the citizen participation isn't easy, and it's different from a lot of areas, and that's something that we have experienced in NEB-STAR. But I know we have experience from this in Stavanger as well, then. It doesn't always go the way we hope.
No.
Gunnar?
Leading question. No, it truly doesn't. And one of the reasons why we started the project in the first place was actually to tackle some of these challenges. We did it because we knew it would be hard, which is kind of okay, then you know, right? That's the entry. I think we were a bit naive because we thought we would be able to change, but there's no such thing as starting from scratch, because with an existing city, with existing tension, there's the entry level is it's kind of hard and it's high, kind of. So what we saw that parts of the project, one part of the project were in a residential area of the town, and there were groups or subgroups that really didn't want this to succeed and really didn't want to participate in any sort of common arenas or joint arenas. So we tried to tackle it with a lot of different tools, and we have even brought a guide, which you can get from us later if you will come and visit us. Portfolio of NEB-STAR tools, which is both, it's everything from physical and digital tools to methods of cooperation. We tried all of them, but still there was someone we couldn't get on board.
Yeah.
It is kind of hard. They don't want dialogue. So what we learned from that, I guess, is that try to start the involvement as early as possible, even when you're in the ideation phase, the very beginning. Start involving, so you can agree on a sort of a joint future. Where do you want to go? Because you will always start too late, and then things have kind of gotten into its patterns already.
Yeah. You never start early enough. That's one of the key
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I want to keep you engaged, Gunnar. So one of the tools that we have tested that you can read more about in the booklet, that is how we have experimented with new procurement methods to engage startups in neighborhood development. So could you share some lessons from this project?
Yeah, so we had tested a little bit before the project. We actually did what a smart city should do. We copied an idea from Helsinki, from Forum Virium in Helsinki, which was at that time called agile piloting. So it's a way of letting people solve problems without telling them how to do it. So it's more like an open procurement. We rebranded it, adapted it to Norway, and called it Quick Test, which is more or less the same, but some nuances. It was really a way of letting both existing companies, but also really sort of brand new startups who barely are gotten off the ground, into solving local problems, having them come up with solutions in smaller neighborhoods. So it's almost like social entrepreneurship, but still on a more commercial terms. So we actually pay for pilots. There was this pilot fatigue, but also from a perspective where the city expects a lot of free rides from the companies. And we said, no, let's stop with that. It costs them time and money. We pay for it. And we tested that in the project here, and it created of course, some solutions, but a lot of energy because it involved many stakeholders.
And I think if I could add to that, so I think the agile piloting method also allows a city to kind of procure companies, to outsource a way to do, learn things about the city. So you kind of see a problem through different lenses, through the companies testing in that area. But to make impact in a neighborhood, we also have to be aligned internally, Clara. And I know you have been working within your organization to engage people to create this local impact. So please tell us a bit more about your approach.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I will start with how the situation was in Prague when New European Bauhaus was a new word and nobody knew what it means. Like, it was a mess. There are many organizations who wanted to be part of this topic, but we didn't have aligned agendas, or we didn't know who should do what, and the organizations were even competing for funds and for being seen as the frontrunner of New European Bauhaus. And we decided to change this situation. So we invited the Prague companies and municipality companies together. We invited IPR, which is Institute for Planning and Development. We invited Creative Prague. We invited universities. We invited operator ICT, which is a city data company, and also the municipality. And we just all met together and agreed what New European Bauhaus means for us, what are our goals, what we want to achieve, and we decided to meet each 3 months to keep up with the news, with the new ideas, with the new projects. And it really helped to do some change, because we now know each other. We became friends with some of the people. We can just take our phone and call them, hey, there is this project, are you interested in that? Or we are organizing this event, do you want to come there and be part of that? So it really made our lives easier in this, to collaborate, not to compete.
Exactly. And that's also one of the key components to work within innovation, to have that trust among the partners, to be able to share and to make that call when you need it. Good. So to do innovation in the neighborhood, use the neighborhood as a platform, it's important to include the citizens as early as possible. Can't be early enough. Test new procurement methods like we have done in the NEB-STAR project, to get engaged more outside the scope as well, not necessarily only the project partners or the city, but to broaden the scope and to be aligned internally. Could also be a nice place to start. And please, if you have questions, add them in the app, and I will follow up.
I maybe follow up on Clara a little bit, because I just remember one thing. And as I said, we are primarily a smart city company, but because our close relationship with the university, we're able to, and with partners from Norway, from before we were able to apply together for NEB-STAR, we received the funding. And at the beginning, it was supposed to be not public information from the Commission, but then the Commission published it without giving us heads up. And I was at the UK at the time, and my phone started ringing. It was one Prague organization asking, well, you got NEB-STAR project? We didn't know about it. Can we join? Can we work with you? Then I think I had just the first day, I had 4 calls from 4 different people for different organizations. And luckily, we already had this agreement with the university that we would create this innovation team. So it was quite easy, because I could say, well, we are planning to have this innovation team, and it would be great to have you there. But after the years of collaboration with this innovation team, this is something that won't happen again. Because if one organization is applying for a project, maybe they are the most suitable partner, maybe you don't have more room for additional partners in consortium, but others know about it, and they can, have this understanding, okay, it's great if you come up with this tool or this methodology, we can use it as well, we will support you even without being official partner. So this alignment really helps us to avoid those kind of situations where they first learned that Prague has received this project from the communication from the Commission. not from me. So this is something that was quite funny at the beginning and was one of the motivations to change the way we coordinate.
I think that's a great input. Thank you. Cool. Okay, let's jump into the aesthetic part of it, the beautiful part of it. Because the New European Bauhaus reminds us that cities aren't only infrastructure, they are experiences for the people who live there, for the people who visit, and for the people who work there. So we're going to do explore a little bit about this value and artistic expression, how that could be a driving force in the city development. And Clara, maybe I can start with you. So this is maybe the value or principle that separates the New European Bauhaus from other initiatives like that. Could you elaborate a bit about why that is important in this project?
Mm-hmm. Yes. People are emotional beings, and we feel the emotions all the time, and we feel it in the places where we live or work or where we are. So it's really important how the space look like, and it has impact on emotional well-being, psychological well-being, and also sense of belonging and place attachment. It means when we like the place, we take care of it, so it's becoming nicer and nicer. And it's also about the identity and also about the health. If it's a nice surroundings, we walk more, we go outside, we also meet other people. So I think it's a really important part of the city development.
Cool. So people care more about their city as well when the sense of belonging, and it's a beautiful place to be and surround yourself. Okay, Stenka. So the beautiful part is not always easy because we deal with politicians, we deal with citizens, and you had this good example when we had a pre-meeting about this. So change isn't always that welcomed by the citizen, and sometimes beauty has to go. It has a price as well. So could you share some highlights or lessons from your work kind of in the field when you're trying to make stuff more beautiful for inhabitants? But yeah.
Are you sure it is a highlight? I think that it's a little bit dilemma, and we talk about it, as Clara said, that we are a human being, or people, our inhabitants are a human being, but these human beings are also, they want to park somewhere. And our architects in architecture study, they design a very nice place in front of the supermarket, and this place is supposed to be the place for the meeting, for the community meetings, there is cafe and park, and it's green and very nice. But when we have the public session, the people has the opposite point of view, because in these days there are parking places, and they talk to us that no, we want to have the place where to park. So this is the dilemma, if we want to have the nice, green, relaxed place, because every one of us, when go to shopping, meet there some friend or something, and want to talk to, it's good to have the place like this. But the more important for our inhabitants was have to place where to park. So it was it was a really interesting discussion about this, and we have to explain that we can have the jungle of parking places, or we can have the nice area where you can spend your time and make a good atmosphere and have a green places already.
Yeah. But there are still parking places there.
No, in this time, yes, there are parking places, but we have to explain that there will be the parking house.
Okay, right.
But it's not the best way, and the people don't like it. But we are on our way, and we try to explain it, and we will see.
Good to hear. So you have some experience with this as well.
Yeah, so what happened in the beginning of the NEB-STAR project is that one of the private companies who was part of the project, one of the big construction companies building out a new part of the town with office buildings. They were the ones challenging this and said that, and it was exactly parking places also. They said, we want to have less. We want to have more green areas. We want to plant more trees. And then the city, the people in the planning department of the city said, no, by Norwegian law, you have to have that many parking places per people working there. And it became a big debate because, of course, a private property developer who wants to have a greener area, shouldn't we try to make that work? But then the city became worried that they would have to provide more buses and more infrastructure. So it was kind of turned upside down. In the end, the city actually changed their law around this. So, and they got political approval to reduce the parking places. But it's very sort of a long game because you have to, again, agree on the wanted future.
Exactly.
What do you want to have in 5, 10, 15 years? And try not to only look at your own needs, right? So, yeah.
That's
I will
good.
try to say it there.
Yeah, but that's good. But it also kind of emphasized that you need this pull also from the private side, from the developers, that they are in the forefront of this development and pushes the city to change, basically.
Just a quick comment on that. They actually asked us, put higher requirements, set higher requirements for us as private, because then not only this one company would do it, but then everyone would have to do it, and then it would be a more sort of level playing field, sort of competition-wise. So I think that's a good thing.
Exactly. Thomas, I also, since we are kind of in the aesthetic and beauty principle, we have to discuss the Prague Pixel project that you've been working with here. So you probably have seen it. It's out here in the hallway. You can experience it later if you haven't. But in your experience, you have to briefly tell us about the Prague Pixel and also share a little bit about what happens when artists and engineers come together and try to create something. Any tensions, unexpected synergies or so?
Yeah, so the origin of Prague Pixels was actually we long had in our company this shared understanding that yes, we are collecting and processing very interesting data for the city. We have impactful, important projects that we work on with many city departments in areas like transportation, waste management, environment, but we don't really communicate them very well. And most people can't really make use of the data that we have. Most people can't really appreciate the work that not just us, but also people in the city are putting in those incremental innovations that improving their life, and they can't really engage because they don't understand that. So it wasn't really inclusive. So that's why we started looking at, can we actually work with artists to create experiences, because that's how people learn. Most of the time we don't learn from reading something in a book, we experience world. So how we can turn data, smart city projects, innovation into experiences that people can relate to, maybe share them together with other people, so there's a social learning component to it. And that's how we got to, we started searching for how to do this, and we actually were lucky because we had a talent in our company. It was a girl who is a young woman who at the time was both a data scientist, but she was also already tweaking with some lights that were reacting to the data and everything. So we said, this is great, let's focus on that and develop it further. And we did, and we had the first prototype, which is there. We already have a big installation that was in Barcelona, which you can see in Prague, hopefully. Or if you were in Barcelona, you could see the big one. And we actually combined audio-visual kind of artistic expression of the data together with sonification. So it turns the data also into the sound in one of the versions. And it actually reads the data. So it's not pre-programmed. You just had certain, you link the data to certain aspects of the installation, and it actually plays them for you and creates those vivid visuals for you automatically. And of course, you can have a great interactions. You can involve students and different professions into playing with it. It's kind of toy as well. And yeah, so this is something that helped us to better understand what it means to actually work with artists in our team. The biggest challenge is how you balance artistic freedom and expression with following clear goal. Also, artists have very different way of working. They are much more impulsive. They need sometimes to work, like to close themselves for the whole week and work on the thing. And the engineers work in a very different way very often. So it was a very valuable experience. And I think what is important to remind ourselves what the goal is and to not lose the track, because one way it can go wrong is that the artist will create something which is very interesting and visually beautiful, but it's completely unrelated to the original assignment. And the other extreme is where you are closing the artist in a very small space and basically just turning them into graphic designer to make something that you planned very in detail, and you just want to make it like more polished, a little bit more sparkly. So this was quite difficult to find this balance. And then we took those lessons and we actually can apply them to a much larger project called Space. It's called Original Smart Prague Center, where we want to create a whole like a public space exhibition where people can go and experience various data and installations and actually interact with smart city through a very different way. But this was kind of good starting point to start learning how to do it, how to work, how to combine those professions that normally don't work together that much.
Interesting. I think it's cool to see how you kind of made data more inclusive and data as an experience through the Prague Pixel. Do you plan to do more collaborations with artists in the future? Or?
Yeah, definitely. The Smart Prague Center will be exactly this. And we also learned that there's a great advantage of having artists in your team, but also now we feel much more confident to work with artists from like outside the city, even outside Prague. We linked with organizations like Ars Electronica in Linz, who work with artists as well. So in the future, it will be interesting to see how we can work with students, with independent artists, and create those new experiences in the center with contractors as well. But yeah, we definitely want to build on that, and we actually develop this approach, experiential learning within a company. What is important for us is to have experts in the company who will be able to contract and work with those artists. So you need to have kind of it's good to have this in-house knowledge how to coordinate the whole thing, but then you can work with artists from outside as well. You don't need to create a whole team of various professions, because then it would be difficult, and also you would again become quite narrow-minded. Every installation we can do the same, so it's good to have the variety and invite people from outside the company, definitely.
That's great to hear. We actually have some questions coming in, which is good. I'm going to take one now. I'm going to say one for the next little session that we have. So please just give me if you feel the need to answer. Okay. Everybody wants to have green spaces in their neighborhood, but people need houses. How do you deal with the NIMBY attitude? So not in my backyard. Anyone feel the urge?
Well, one of the approaches from the project was using a tool called Barcode, where we actually did some extensive mapping. So the city has all these ideas on where should it be, green spaces, and of course roads and everything you need, all the infrastructure you need. But how bad is it really? So can we kind of map it out and then create the grounds for discussion? Because then you can pinpoint where it really hurts, and maybe there is enough green spaces that people don't know of, or maybe they're not accessible, or maybe you really have to remake and open up spaces. So for us, using one of those tools, which it's kind of basic in a way, but for Stavanger, that's one of the tools that the city will use in the future, a mapping tool of sort of all kinds of infrastructure, all kinds of nature and so on.
And I think it's also good with the barcode system or project that you add some facts to the discussion, because I think in the NIMBY, not in my backyard, there's a lot of feelings involved from the cities, so it's nice to have kind of a more balanced way to discuss the development.
And if you are interested in barcode, you can stop at CVUT's booth, because there are colleagues who already work with that as a NEB-STAR partner, and they can tell you a bit more and how we can apply it even in Czech context, I suppose.
Perfect.
That was today's commercial, that's good. Please do. Okay, so one more question. I want to address this to you, Gunnar, before we move on. So you have worked with the beautiful artistic topic, both in NEB-STAR, but also as head of the Smart City in Stavanger.
Yeah.
So what role should artists play in the developing of the smart city?
There's many roles they can have, right? I think for this project, it got to be more mature, so we at least we had an idea. It started out being a bit difficult because just doing the procurement, so getting artists to work for a project like this, having the procurement being done from the city, that in itself became hard, because normally when you bring in artists, it goes, at least for Stavanger, it went through the cultural department. And they were normally looking for artists who do installations or do installations in buildings or paintings or typical traditional artistic work. So when we said we want to use this for something completely different, that was hard. You can't do that. They said, yeah, we can. We want to try to leverage the power that artists bring. They bring a different perspective, and we felt that in the project because they challenged us a lot on the way we think, on the way we collaborate, to the extreme that we even had a small session that was a polyamorous couples therapy between the partners in the project, and that was something different. But we actually needed it because there was a lot of frustration. People couldn't collaborate, and tensions. So we just needed to sit down, talk about it in a therapy session together, but it needed to be facilitated. And that was done by the artists. I think bringing artists into this, it opened up some new doors for the project, but it has actually changed the way that the city sees this now. They want to use artists more in the future. So, of course, it will always be a question about budgets. But turn it around, think of it also as a way of paying artists, because artists need work, not only doing the installations, right? So this can bring them into a sort of a wider discussion and help bring some economy into this. But of course, it's no free lunch, so they'll challenge you for sure. Yeah.
But we need to be challenged as well, especially to make this transition that we have to reach the green and sustainable city and inclusive that we want to live in. Okay, we're going to jump into our final topic of this panel. So we're going to discuss how we go from experimentation to strategy and how we can implement this in the future to create lasting change, basically. And I'm going to start with you, Clara. You have already talked about the innovation team that you established in the beginning of the project to kind of get everybody aligned. But what do you recommend organizations to do that embarks on projects like the NEB-STAR project?
I would recommend to find other organizations with similar goal and to connect and look for like how can you help each other, how can you collaborate, because it can help you a lot. And I also would recommend to come with some structure of meetings which works well and which is not expensive, so it can work even without the project. Like we are meeting every 3 months, and it's always one organization hosting the meeting, so it's not expensive. They just invite others and buy coffee, and so it can last and continue after the end of the project.
That is perfect. So, but also, Tommaso, building innovation capacity in the organization. You have been doing this internally. What are the success factors that you have experienced?
Well, I think if I was to talk about innovation capacity as such, we've been here for a long time, because that's what we do primarily. But specifically in terms of European Bauhaus and how it links to our innovation culture, and what worked for us was to link European Bauhaus to something that was already our strong suit. So we actually said, okay, we are European Bauhaus is kind of everybody and nobody's topic. Thanks to the innovation team, we were able to see the other people, what kind of space they occupy in the whole European Bauhaus ecosystem, and we could see, okay, so we really understand data and smart city projects, and we feel that there is opportunity to improve what we are doing with European Bauhaus by making data more beautiful, sustainable, change how we look at our smart city projects. Can they be more, again, beautiful and inclusive, and can we learn from others that work in NEB? And we could also see how we can contribute to European Bauhaus, because a lot of the initiatives would benefit from our experience with implementing technology, large-scale innovation projects, or just they can benefit from our data. So that was important to kind of find our place and build at a strong suit. And also, we were managed to find a couple of quick wins. We looked at our events and projects and programs that we already had planned, and they were already, budget in a budget. And we looked, okay, here we can get an extra panel that will look. There's a conference already there. Let's infuse it with European Bauhaus. We already have this partnership with students. Let's focus on European Bauhaus this year. So we could really quickly start testing the interest in European Bauhaus with existing projects and events, rather than waiting for improvement and creation of completely new program, which could be really missed. And now, when we had this first feedback through those quick wins, we can implement it in a large-scale project like Smart Praxi Centers, the space, which I already mentioned. Yeah.
I had this kind of a conclusion in my head that I just lost, but no, okay. So it's about kind of connecting a project like this to existing goals in the city. It can't be something that's added on top, has to be kind of implemented and integrated and used as a force to do what you're already.
Especially for organizations which are like, is European Bauhaus really our thing? Because you have organizations that will go, yes, this is exactly what we have. Creative Prague, for example, another partner. The European Bauhaus is 100% their topic, and they can be the organization that jumps to it, head first. But it wasn't really our case. So for us, it was crucial to connect it to something that people already understand and understand the challenge, and then explain European Bauhaus in that prism. Yeah. Through that prism.
Okay, so I know that in Stavanger this hasn't been straightforward either. To kind of, I kind of recognized when Clara talked about to kind of have to align and to get people together, but eventually the NEB values has been implemented in the city strategy.
Yeah. But it took at least 2 years before that.
Talk us through the process.
Yeah, so this is typically how it normally happens, right? There are some people who are eager. It could be Creative Prague, right? But it could be other parts of the organization. So for us, applying for this project, we had an idea, but we couldn't get everyone on board before doing this. We had to start somewhere, right? But the people who wanted it the least were the planning department, because they had all their plans and regulations and rules and everything from before. So why should they add something on top? That would only be a hassle. That will only sort of challenge them even more. I think we spent at least 2 years on getting them on board, slowly getting parts, like a few persons on board. But what happened during that time is there was some maturing outside of the organization. So they saw what was happening in the project itself, that was fine, but other players in Norway and elsewhere in the world were starting to move. So we have the national design authorities in Norway. They started to get interested in this, and they're also part of the project, but they started talking about new European Bauhaus values. And I think that it slowly dawned on the people creating the new plans for Stavanger that this needs to be included and implemented. So at the moment now, we're very happy because they put it into the new city plan for which is guiding development until 2040. So it's quite a huge win for us that they're actually pointing towards New European Bauhaus values, and it's because of our joint project, so we're proud of that. In the city plan, they have framed it a little bit differently. They built on something they already had, so they talk about being a green spearhead, so front runner within the green, being the regional capital, which is sort of the city of Stavanger being the big brother in the region, helping the others out. And then they talk about quality of life. And if you mix that up with the NEB values, it fits very, very well. So, and what we added to this, it doesn't really help to just show it in the plans or mention it in the plans. We added all the tools, all the ways of participating, or at least we added some on top of what they had. So now it's much easier for them to sort of deliver up on the plan, which is really until 2040. It's extremely ambitious. So for us, it's a major win, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so this city plan in Stavanger is one thing, but one of the outcomes of the project is also to NEBify the national and Nordic smart city roadmap. So it's not ready yet, but could you give us a little teaser about the changes and about how kind of NEB has influenced? Yeah,
so I've been working on various levels of roadmaps up through the years, from regional perspective, national perspective, but even a Nordic perspective. And sort of with the broad strokes, it's about placing the citizens first, using, of course, technology, new knowledge to become more sustainable, attractive, and I think productive was kind of the approach. Why do we do this? We want to be more productive. We want to, even now, become more resilient. But it lacked the values of the new European Bauhaus. So the NEBification we've structured it now around what we call agreeing on guiding stars. So find the joint direction, which is one of the findings from the project. Agree on that as early as possible. Sit down with the citizens before you decide what they should think about. Sit down with them and discuss it out loud. So that's like the guiding stars. Find something you can work on together. We have found out that the roadmap also need to be focused on even more on how you can get people into the co-creation mode. So we have some tools for that. We also want to establish or maybe further develop innovation infrastructure, because if you don't have it, you have nothing to build on, which is tough these days with all the, at least in Norway, the cities are, their economy is getting worse and worse. And one of the first things they kick out is innovation, but it's the same for companies, right? That's when you need it the most, but you spend the least money on it. So this is something we also focus on, and then really on top of that, give some specific tools on how to make innovation happen. What can you do? And we keep in mind Stavanger is Norway's 4th largest city, which is still very small in a global perspective. In Norway there are many very small municipalities. We have to create this in a way so the big can help the small ones can even have some value without getting help. That's a bit of a struggle, but we are trying to achieve this. So that will be, I think it will be almost the final deliverable from this project is the updated national roadmap, NEBified roadmap, which we then hope to be able to bring out into the world.
Let's hope so. And for other cities looking to kind of, we were briefly into the kind of collective intelligence that has been kind of gained through this project. So how can other cities or companies or artists kind of gain the knowledge or skills that we have developed so far? So one of the topics that's been on this stage earlier is NEB as a service. Could you elaborate a little bit more, Claude, maybe?
Yes. We as Czech Technical University offer support for the municipalities and other stakeholders in case they want to implement NEB principles in their work, and we can help them with practical tools, research and methodologies, and like consultation. If you are interested, just come to our stand.
Yeah, and come and get the introduction. We have the guide at our stand.
That's perfect. And I would like to just add a question from the audience as well, since we are reaching our end. And so the question is, what happens after NEB funding ends? Does the city continue NEBifying, or the cities? Who wants to?
Maybe me.
Yeah, perfect.
Because European Bauhaus was new for us. It's our first experience. We are quite a small town. And I should say that now we are thinking of how to do it better, how to do it in some another area which is good for these principles. And we want to be better, don't do the failure, because the failures are still important for us. And we were lucky because one of our representatives were architect who has the experience with NEB, and me, I am the expert of participation in YINAC, in South Moravian Innovation Agency. So we have the contacts, and I have great colleagues who helped us with this. But actually, we didn't know each other before Urbis started. So I'm really happy that this is happening, and I think that it's really important to do it more, and have more experience, because then it could be better and better.
Exactly. Okay, now you had something to add.
Yeah, so lucky enough having the city of Stavanger having implemented some of this in their plans, make sure that it will happen, but it doesn't mean that it will scale. So within the new European Bauhaus, there's new calls out, new projects that can be that we can apply on, and we can do it in cooperation, right? So there's something called NEB facilities, which is it's building on top of this, and it's maybe even more sort of specific and narrow than the big whole first round of NEB and what became the NEB-STAR for us. So there are opportunities to do this together with both existing partners and new partners. And just from my perspective, one of the good things about this, the reason why we did suggest to and asked the Prague to become part of this is because we knew them from a previous project. And this is how it goes. You build up trust, you build up collaboration. It's easy to ask. And sometimes it fits, and sometimes the timing is right, and then you know how you can work together. Yeah. But that's and that's kind of with a sad heart also, because spending now 3 years in this project, there are partners we won't work with in the next round because they're busy or elsewhere. So we're kind of leaving behind close partners with a lot of potential that we can build on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that potential. So I would just want to finish this conversation with every one of you giving one short advice to the audience who wants to NEBify their smart city approach. So we can start, Zdenka, with you.
Okay. As we said, the participation with citizens is really important. And in the beginning is delayed, as we said today. And small steps are the most important ones. So do it. Don't be afraid, and we will see.
Perfect. Gunnar?
Yeah, I think it's in the same sort of direction. I've said it many times now, it's about early involvement, but also start small. Start in sort of local areas, neighborhoods, something that's manageable. Because then you can involve all the players, all the actors in that area, and then you'll get a feel, can this scale? Is this something we can do in the rest of the city? Yeah.
Good. Clara?
In the very beginning, start with the participations with the citizens, but also start with collaboration with others and also with the artists. I think it also makes sense to discuss everything from the beginning together.
Yeah, I think that European Bauhaus doesn't have to be such a new thing. Mostly the things that European Bauhaus tries to achieve, you probably want to achieve as well. And European Bauhaus can give you a framework how to do it. And eventually, if you're successful, you won't need European Bauhaus around anymore because it becomes actually the new norm. So try to find what it actually is that you want to achieve, the first thing that resonates with you. If you hear European Bauhaus, if you start reading principles, and starts with that thing that resonates with you. And yeah.
Perfect. And that ends this panel. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're interested in learning more, please find us out in the exhibition hall. Thank you all. And thank you to the panelists. Please give them a hand.